Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How you doing?
We're all doing pretty good here.
Awesome, awesome, beautiful. All right. Hey, it is football Sunday here at the APBA Football Club, and APBA football is alive and well north of the border in Regina, Canada, thanks to Chad Fisher and a group of family and friends who've created an 8-team league with a combination of basic and master and some homebrew rules. It's really rare to pull together a group of folks. You've got some newcomers from some fantasy draft and just round of comments from the group to start with. What do you think of APBA football so far, you who are new to the game?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It's awesome.
So far, so good. Yeah, just learning it.
Yeah, love it. Stellar.
Getting used to it.
So, Chad, you mentioned that some of your rules and modifications go back to an APBA football group that you were in the 2000s. So, how
Yeah,
did you
that's
take
good.
that experience and turn it into what you've got going now?
Well, I was actually able to stay friends with a couple of the guys that I used to play with in that previous league. So then the initial idea to kind of start this was actually from my oldest son because he's looking to find a way to incorporate offensive line because like our normal drafts that we do, our normal fantasy drafts, we go really quite heavy on the IDPs and whatnot. So he was really thinking, well, if there'd be a way to we can maybe incorporate some offensive linemen, that'd be great. So just from my old playing days, I just do remember this. So that kind of got the ball rolling on this. I was able to get in touch with a couple of those guys, like just to maybe refresh on what some of the rules were and just how we played it. And they're actually really quite helpful in just I guess kind of bringing back that old data that I'd stored in the back of the brain that yeah, I didn't think I'd ever rehash.
So now, what is the official name of your league? How many games do you play? Do you have a stat keeper, a website?
Don't really believe we have an official website. Our name is Regina APBA Football. I think it's what we called it. Yeah. So we're just called the Regina APBA Football Club, or if you want to call it that. We really don't have a website. It's everything's just more or less just kind of done on a couple stat sheets like this here.
Nice.
And then they're just turned in just for kind of record keeping. There's a link that I share among all the guys that they can monitor the progress of their guys and so on and so forth like that.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So, how many games are on your slate? When will you wrap up your season?
Well, initially we I've got about 7 games just kind of on the initial docket right now. So just kind of everybody just plays everybody once, and then we're just gonna kind of go from there, just to kind of get the feel of this, and just to see like just how quickly everybody is catching on, and if there's going to be if there's any changes that we can maybe implement to maybe make the games go quicker or things like that. And also if the interest is still there, just because they do have lives outside of Apple, like everybody else and whatnot. Um, just how consistently everybody can make the games, because let's be honest, it is a commitment, like with this many guys. So if we can maybe add in maybe a couple more, maybe bring it up to 10, and just have everybody play everybody once, and then everybody within their conference twice, just for the tiebreakers. We'll do that, and then just do a playoff after that. But we'll have to kind of see how that goes.
Awesome. Awesome. Have you given any thought to having folks more remote from your area playing games online, like the National Card Football League does Zoom, things like that, or Skype?
Hadn't really thought of it, but definitely something that we could be open to. Like I said, like just because everybody like they are busy with outside commitments and so on and so forth like that. So it just might make it a little bit easier to do.
Sure, sure. And now I understand you use Ray Dunlap's matchup system and you
Yeah.
incorporate kind of the basic plays with some of the master games, screen draw, and rare plays. But I also understand, I think you mentioned in some of the information you sent me that you've kind of built some of your own charts.
Not really so much built our charts. If there's anything that was kind of built, would be we created. If you give me your card here, is we created a couple of defensive matchups.
Nice.
So we just kind of incorporated that, like just based off of that. Then plus we've also built certain key cards as well too. So just so each key card is going to incorporate just different packages of the offense as well too, and each will have benefits and drawbacks, much the same as defense as well too. So it's meant to kind of strike that balance if we can.
And this is a draft league, or are you playing the teams as carded?
This is actually a draft league, but rather than have everybody sit here and do a 50-round draft, which would take forever, we more or less just decided just to kind of inherit a team, and then we just did just a 10-round open draft. We do incorporate the salaries off of the cap salary off of SpotTrack.com just to keep everybody kind of disciplined on it, so that and just throwing that extra challenge of trying to manage a cap as well too.
And speaking of that, what are some of the other overarching rules or the framework of the league, how you operate?
I don't really think that there's really anything outside of APBA other than how APBA is designed, other than I guess the offensive key cards and the individual matchup cards as well too, and just how the dice rolls are just going to affect that. But aside from that, we're trying to find that blend of to try and keep it fun, keep it exciting, but also at the same time let APBA be APBA as well too.
Nice. Do you incorporate any player usage or gain caps, things like that, per real life?
That's probably something that we'll explore probably the next year, just because everybody is relatively new to it. So, and for everybody new, like this is a lot of information to digest. So kind of want to strike that balance of letting them use their guys as well as and to also get the flow of the game before we start incorporating those types of restrictions.
Sure. And just for the audience here, you have 8 teams. You head up the Dolphins. You've also got the Bengals, Titans, Commanders, Eagles, Niners, Raiders, Cowboys. Some venerable names there. I'm wearing my Steelers shirt. There's never a Steelers team.
Oh, so bad.
How many games have you gotten in so far, and how are you finding your gameplay?
Well, we just started last week. Some of the games they did take a little while, like just because there is a lot of information to go through in terms of this, and everybody's got to find their rhythm within the boards, just the location of all the plays and so on and so forth like that. Plus the actual flow of the game is as well too. So it will pick up the more these guys play. And I can also say that being being the veteran player of the bunch, it does it does pick up. It does get a little bit quicker, and the game does flow a little smoother. Right now, these guys are more or less just trying to get their bearings, trying to get their feet wet, and just to understand the nuances of the game as well too.
Cool. So how many games do you have under your belt so far? It's kind of almost like a preseason thing right now, it sounds like.
Pretty much. Well, everybody here, I've done a test game or two, with them, just to try to help them incorporate as well too. But we really hit the ground running last week, being our official week 1. So,
what were some of the highlights? Some of those 66 moments.
5 interceptions last week.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, the Eagles just couldn't roll to save him. He couldn't roll to save his life last week. And then
that 14-point swing, so Miami lost the game to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that was pretty sweet.
Nice. Oh man, yeah, these things, it just starts adding up, boy, once you get that flow going. And,
absolutely.
So, how about things like injuries? Is one thing I'm always curious about. Do you carry injuries over game to game? Do you have your own?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Actually, speaking of the Eagles, he just joined us now too. So,
hey, welcome, Philadelphia. All right. Nice. Yeah. So, does anyone in the group have previous sports board game experience, or any other type of board game?
I would assume probably my brother-in-law.
I do a lot of board games. I do not necessarily sports stuff. I do I've played D&D. I've played a lot of different role playing board games themselves. So this was really interesting to me. Like I'm a huge stats guy too, so I love anything that'll incorporate stats and all of that kind of stuff. So for me, when Chad was just like, "Hey, there's this game," and I was like, "Oh, really?" it was great. So yeah,
And you are Chad's brother-in-law, Jared, coaching the
yeah,
Bengals.
I
So,
am. Yeah.
so how do these conversations, Chad, go? I mean, it's like, hey, I've got this game, like Jared just mentioned. How do you say, well, there's this game, and you can actually play the real teams, the real players, the real stats? How did it take a lot of convincing, or was like, oh, I'm all in?
Well, for pretty much everybody here is like twisting a rubber arm. They're all in. So actually, I had purchased the game. I want to say back in about late March, early April, and then when it arrived, because we also do a couple other drafts in other sports and such like that. So I was able to bring a couple of the cards and then just kind of lay out just a couple of the basics and just on more or less how to read the cards, the run, pass, kick, call, and so on and so forth like that, and just how it's all determined by the dice roll and the play result from that.
Nice. Nice. And do you already have folks now? You're a veteran. You've got about 20 years under your belt, sounds like, with APBA football.
Well, maybe not 20 years. I only played maybe about 3 or 4 with the old group, and then for some, well, then for I guess the league didn't exactly carry on forward, and just and I never did hear of anything after that. I even tried to post it up to try and like on the APBA page, or to try to maybe collect those final 3-4 teams that we were looking for. And there really wasn't a response. So the only one that I've seen is actually Harvey out of Saskatoon, and he's actually helped me out quite a bit as well too with getting this started too.
Absolutely. Harvey Keeler, great friend
Yeah.
of the channel, great, huge contributor to the community. He's even made a set of boards to play by Canadian rules, Canadian field sizes like that. And actually, I'm curious, Play Games has a game called Cold Snap, and there have been some other Canadian football leagues. Why did you choose the American style over Canadian style?
We're all big NFL fans for starters, so that's just the one that most appeals to us.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you watch any of the Canadian? Do you compare, or does it just not really register as much?
We watch we unfortunately watched Saskatchewan lose their bid for the Grey Cup last year, or excuse me, last night. So
Going to be here all day.
oh,
I am a season ticket holder for our Saskatchewan Roughriders,
Nice.
but I bleed red first.
There you
You
go.
know,
All right.
you know.
How did that?
One of the things I was going to say about like the CFL too, with there's being so few teams, the CFL is so localized as well. So I think all of us here would call ourselves Rider fans. And who picks the Riders at that point in time? Well, you can go to hell then. He's gone. He's out of here. It's always so localized to where you live, I think, for the CFL more than the NFL. Like NFL, you look around the table here, there's 8 of us, and each one of us has got a different team that we represent, right?
We're both Bengals
fans.
yeah, except for
But for the most part, like no one in Canada has an NFL team to cheer for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but who picks the Commanders? Who picks the Commanders?
I think it's impossible to rebuild teams. That's just the way it goes. Right now, it's not working that well. Right? Hopefully, it can change this week, but right now, I'm looking bad.
That's my son. He gave up the veteran presence to the brother-in-law here. So they're both Bengals fans.
Wow.
He had the opportunity to pick the Lions, and he picked the Commanders.
Wow.
I understand rebuilding, but why not take a hot Detroit Lions team?
Talk about it.
The Commanders are better team than the Lions.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Hey, he likes a challenge. That's great.
Absolutely. That's precisely why he took him. They had left us all scratching our heads. So
Hey, all right. So now speaking of that, in terms of the teams you've got a fairly good mix here. Do you have a sense that you want kind of a broad range of I've heard some leagues talk about not wanting to create an all-star league. So you've got seems like you've got pretty good parity team to team.
Yeah, so far, like that that 10-round draft we did, that really closed that gap. So like for example, like you've got the 49ers and the Commanders. 49ers being on paper, like excuse me, according to the cards and the V ratings, like they would have the best team, and the Commanders statistically would have the worst team as well too. So it definitely did close that gap, which that was definitely made it. It makes the games like far more competitive as well too.
We should go around the table again, and let's just start with you, Chad. Say your name and just your team, and what are kind of the high and low points of your team without giving away too much. If you know, just like how are you feeling, getting a feel for your team? What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Well, I'm Chad Fisher. I'm coach GM for the Miami Dolphins. I've actually incorporated I think kind of a nice balance between the pass and the run, but I definitely would like to work on my depth, and especially with especially if I inherit some of these cards coming in for the following year, seeing how they're going from a playoff berth to well, it doesn't look like we're going to be making playoffs this year. So,
all right, over to Jared.
Jared Jakubowski, GM of the Cincinnati Bengals. If I'd have to say my strength was my salary cap handling during the draft and stuff. I got a better team with a lot less cap. Could use a little bit more depth though. My defense has been pretty solid in week one, as the Eagles found out. So I'm happy. I think we're going Super Bowl this year.
All right, all right.
Hello, I'm Ryan Hishbit. I've got the Oakland Raiders. Unfortunately, my defense is the worst part of my team. Otherwise, I get a good round game that I'm proud to say. So we'll see how far it takes us. Luck of the dice.
There you go.
You created the boards.
Yeah, you created.
Oh, yeah, Ryan created these boards here.
Ryan also created our boards for us as well too.
Beautiful. Oh, wow.
You got every team.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job on them.
Oh my goodness. Nicely done.
Yeah, Curt Bayly, of course, from the Eagles here. Like I said, the strength is that the Eagles have a strong roster to begin with. So the draft, you didn't really need all 10 rounds. And when it comes to weaknesses, I tell you one thing, comes to the luck of the dice, Jared. The luck of the dice. Was it terrible?
Okay. Hi, I'm Corey Page, piloting the Dallas Cowboys here. Last week was my first full game, so I'm not too sure strengths and weaknesses yet, other than I immediately gave Dak the boot so I could get a quarterback that I don't hate with all my heart and soul. And yeah, we're just going to see running the ball, I think seems to be the best course of action, so we'll go with that.
Cool.
Hi, Jason Gushu, Bang Bang Niner gang. It's probably our one, I have probably the top two O linemen in the draft, adding to Trent Williams. I added Penei Sewell to my O line. My O line is still not strong as I'd like it to be, and obviously, when you have a guy like CMC and the stats he put up last year, so
For sure.
I am a defensive guy first, so I look to build my defense for next year.
Nice. Awesome.
All right.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Fisher. I'm the GM of the Commanders, and honestly, there's nothing good about the team right now. We suck, and the lows are just all the worst things is just every single thing on the roster. I got a lot to work on. But sooner or later, the Commanders will win the Super Bowl. Soon, I'll beat the Bengals.
It could be a legendary turnaround. All right.
Pretty much, and not with us is my other son Brandon. He's the coach GM for the Titans. He was looking to basically shed that ungodly Ryan Tannehill contract. So he was successfully able to do that and upgrade with Josh Allen on that as well too. So
Nice. Awesome. We'll let you get to the gameplay here, but thank you so much. We're excited. We're rooting for you, man. Keep it going, and please keep us posted with updates.
for sure, but certainly will do. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. Roll on.
Keep rolling sixes. Have a good one. Thanks for the help.
Yes, sir.